and welcome. I wanted to break down what's happening right now on the globe, on the earth plane, and collectively through the quantum lens and through energy. I just wanted to let me just fix my phone. I want to break this all down into a very simple way of viewing this, which is just energy. Seeing everything as energy, understanding it through the quantum lens as energy, and being able to practice this in our every now instead of getting caught up in the emotion and the judgment and the attachments and the duality of the third dimensional lens and third dimensional field which we are standing in. So from a quantum perspective and a quantum field, there is a large tsunami of fear consciousness that is literally collectively purging right now. And although it doesn't look like it is purging, that is what is occurring. And like most of you have recognized in your own personal clearing, healing, and purging process in your own physical form, the density has to pop up and be felt, right? It has to be seen. It has to be honored, acknowledged, and loved. So what we are seeing through a quantum lens is a tsunami or an avalanche, a cloud of massively powerful, disempowering fear consciousness that is sweeping the earth plane. Okay? What we as consciously ascending humans are experiencing is the knowingness of what is happening, the observing of it, instead of the being in it, right? We are observing all that is occurring, and then we are doing our best to not participate and play in that tsunami that we're watching rush over the entire earth plane. So the quantum field very simply is when consciousness splits from source, it's an energy, it's a frequency, it spins. When that light and energy spins, it creates a frequency, which creates a vibration. The vibration is the pulse that moves out from that consciousness. So for us, the consciousness is inside of us, the frequency spins, and then there's a vibrational pulse that goes out from our energetic field. Based on the spin of light, the frequency, that's going to dictate where that consciousness lies within a dimensional realm. The reason there are dimensional fields or realms is because when the consciousness enters that dimensional realm, it provides experiences, which is consciousness. So every dimensional realm or every dimensional field holds a spectrum of consciousness or experiences. And to be able to be in that dimensional field, you have to hold the density of that field. So a third dimensional form holds third dimensional density. The way it views its reality is through a third dimensional lens. As we become more multidimensional, we are stepping into and holding fourth dimensional density, allowing ourselves to actually stand in a fourth dimensional field, accessing fourth dimensional consciousness as our reality in our now moment. We will eventually anchor into and hold the density of the fifth dimension in our bodies completely. So our bodies will be 5D, fifth density. We will be in a fifth dimensional field of consciousness, and everything we see, every way that we are being is in the fifth dimensional field. But we're not there yet. What happens is, as we increase our frequencies, we are tapping into these consciousnesses in the quantum field. The quantum field holds every possible frequency, vibration, experience, dimensional field available to the consciousness that splits from source. So from a much larger perspective right now, what is happening on the earth plane is there is a massive amount of purging the earth is needing to do collectively based on fear. And what this fear tsunami is doing is it's awakening the beings on the earth plane, the humans on the earth plane, that are designed to hold these higher frequencies that are in the quantum field in the higher dimensional realms we're holding this light, this energy, this frequency, this vibration, while Earth collectively pushes this consciousness through her, purges it out of her by this sweeping of fear. Imagine it like a cloud. Forget about the behaviors that are happening with the humans, right? That's a byproduct of the purging. It's very similar to when you purge personally, right? When you are personally purging your own density, right? The way that it is purged is that it's felt, it's experienced, it's seen. Maybe you kick and scream, maybe you sleep for 7 hours, maybe you go run. The behavior in which you are experiencing is not as important as the feeling of it, the seeing of it, the observing of it, and then it naturally purges out of you, right? It's the same thing with the earth plane. She's purging a really large consciousness right now, and she'll be purging it multiple times, just like we purge density multiple times, right? Here it comes again, right? It's the same thing with the earth plane. So from a much larger perspective in the quantum field, visualize this large cloud and tsunami of fear rushing over the earth plane and over the entire planet and humanity. And we, as awakening, ascending humans that understand the quantum field, we have access to and are designed to hold the higher realms in our physicality. We have to hold the fourth and fifth dimensional fields that we've already been tapping into as a beacon while this tsunami passes us. Because in the quantum realm, the third dimension, fourth dimension, the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, they all exist in a now moment. And if you have already tapped into and felt a third dimensional field, then you're always going to see that third dimensional field. Any field or dimension or density that is lower than you, you will be able to tap into. So in a quantum field, we do not escape and separate from and no longer see or experience the density. Quite the opposite. We are designed to see it and to hold the higher frequencies and be in the quantum field while that density is purging and clearing. That's our role, not to get involved, meaning not to play in it, not to participate in it, not to buy into it, but to observe it from the higher perspective, from the fourth dimensional field, from the fifth dimensional field, right? And so how do you do that? You recognize that there is a cloud out there, right? Visualize a large cloud tsunami of fear. So when you walk outside, you may encounter that. You may feel it, right? Oh, wow, look at that. We are an energetic being. We have an energetic field. When you step outside, you visualize yourself in a very solid, sovereign space, holding a fourth or fifth dimensional consciousness around you. You're vibrating it out. What does that mean? It means that you are holding yourself with an open heart. You are holding yourself in and anchored to your physicality. You are breathing in every now. You are relaxing in every now. You are staying expanded in every now. You are remembering who you are in every now. The way that consciousness creates in the quantum is through intention and energy, which means that you intend where you want to go, what you want to experience, and then you hold the frequency of that experience. So what we are learning how to do is, I'm intending myself to be in the higher realms. I'm intending myself to be in the fourth and fifth dimensional fields when I walk outside. Great. What does that mean? It means that I have to hold those frequencies. Great. What does that mean? It means I have to remember what it feels like, which you've been practicing for however many years, those consciousnesses, which is, okay, I'm sovereign, which means that I have my own field of energy around me. We're all sovereign. I'm solid in my field. And in this field, I'm going to hold 4 and 5D consciousness, which means that I'm going to stay open. I am going to stay in my heart center as much as I possibly can, which means that I'm going to keep that center open. I'm going to breathe throughout every single now moment. I'm going to get present. I'm going to feel everything. I'm going to see everything. I'm going to notice my judgments, And I'm going to try my best, as I may or may not judge, to remember that I am in the quantum space, that this is a much larger experiment at hand. Take the bigger perspective. When you start holding those higher frequencies, you start to see things from a bigger perspective. I am going to breathe. I'm going to be present. I'm going to get grounded into my body. I'm going to watch any judgments that I have. I'm going to observe but not play in. I'm going to observe but not participate. I'm going to honor the human journey. I'm going to honor what is occurring right now. And I'm not going to play in it, but I'm going to honor every human that is in it. And I'm going to hold love. I'm going to hold light. I'm going to vibrate this frequency out from my physical form in its sovereign field. And I'm going to be solid and strong when I walk out there. And I'm going to find my breath. That is how you are in the quantum, multidimensionally, even in the midst of chaos. This is just the beginning. We have to practice this because this is going to continue. The earth is going to continue to purge these really large consciousnesses. The other thing that we want to practice is stepping away from trying to understand why, or is there an agenda, or is there some sort of conspiracy around it, right? Because when you fall into the conspiracy theories or people doing this to the human, right? They're trying to control the human, or there's darker forces at hand. What you're doing when you're playing in that is you're remaining in a third dimensional field, which is okay. It's your choice, right? You have free will in the quantum. But when you are playing in those kinds of conspiracy theories and judgments around this is being done because somebody's trying to control the human, that may or may not be true. But that may or may not be true in a third dimensional field. We are trying to step into the quantum and experience it from a fourth and fifth dimensional field. So it doesn't matter if there's a conspiracy. None of it matters. What matters is the bigger picture, which is that there is a consciousness, tsunami consciousness, that is coming up for the earth to purge. The collective is purging this. And we as way showers and the awakening ascending human are the ground crew holding the higher frequencies. We are holding the higher dimensional realms for humanity and earth. And we have to practice this in every now because we've never done this before. We have never practiced in such a massively chaotic now moment like we are seeing now. And so now we practice. I'm in a quantum field. There's multiple dimensional fields I get to choose to be in. That means you have to know this is true. You have to know this to be true, which means that you have to know that even as people are getting sick, and even as people are running and buying all the food and all the water, you are holding the higher realms, which says all is well. Earth is purging this density. I am assisting the collective and earth in purging this by holding the higher realms in my body, which means I have compassion for all beings, which means I open my heart even more, which means I love even harder, which means I stay open and expanded and grounded down into my body, which means I find my breath in every now, which means I do my best to not judge, compare, compete, attach, or hold right and wrong in any of it. And all of that list is very challenging as we are learning to be quantum, as we are learning to be multidimensional. It's challenging. And that is our role right now. That's what we're here to do, is to remember how the quantum field works. We've learned about it. We've read about it. We've watched people talk about it. We understand it conceptually. Guess what? Now you have to be it. Now you have to actually start to be in the quantum field, which means I, as a being of light in physical form, is starting to remember that I create my reality based on intention and energy, which means I choose what I'm going to play in. I choose my reality. I choose my field of consciousness. I then bring that vibration to that field by remembering and knowing what that consciousness feels like, because I've been practicing it for the last however many months or years. And then I practice holding that frequency in my body as I walk around. And the more I practice this, the easier it becomes, and I don't have to consciously practice it. It just becomes me. But in the beginning, we have to practice. What does 4D feel like? What does 5D feel like? We've been learning this, right? It's not been for nothing. We've been learning this for a reason, for right now. Right now. And when you remember the sovereignty of you, you can step out into that external, into the tsunami of fear, and remember that you are sovereign. You do not need to be bombarded or pummeled over with all of the scarcity, lack, and fear. It is all just a consciousness. It doesn't control you, remember. It doesn't control you. It's just consciousness, and you have choice. That's the power of becoming multidimensional and holding higher frequencies and remembering who you are. You have the power and the choice to choose. You are in a quantum field. Nobody is forcing you to buy into, experience, or be in anything other than what you are choosing to be in now. And your role as a being of light in physical form right now is to courageously hold the higher realms. It's to courageously hold the higher frequencies that the majority of the planet isn't even aware of yet. But by you holding these frequencies, holding this awareness without judgment, i.e., you're so stupid for believing in that. I don't know why you're believing that. It's not real. It's not true. Blah, blah, blah. It is real. It is true. It is occurring. It's absolutely happening, right? It's an absolute truth. But guess what? When you start to shift into the higher realms, your truth shifts. Your reality shifts. And the challenging piece to this is that the majority of reality isn't seeing it yet. And so you've got to hold the knowingness that there is a reality that exists where this fear is cleared, where humanity is safe, where humanity is loved, where humanity is free to choose and decide. And that this wave of tsunami fear will clear. And there may be destruction along the way. That is part of purging. That is part of this journey. And now it is our role to hold these higher perspectives, to love as often and as much as we can right now, to hold that frequency in our form as much as we possibly can. Because the earth, even though she has already ascended into that 5D density and field, we are catching up to that, so we're in slow motion and she needs our help. It's a co-creation between the light workers, way showers, starseeds, and the earth body. And all of the humans that are still unconscious, waiting to be awakened by us. It's your role and your job to awaken them by being in the higher realms. So reframe all of this. This is practice for doing what you came onto the earth plane to do. From a very simplistic way of seeing it. And there are thousands upon thousands of humans that are waiting for you to show them the way. And we don't do this by lecturing. We don't do this by right, wrong, good, bad. We do this by being the higher realms, by showing how to be in the quantum field and not be rattled by reminding everyone that they're going to be okay in the midst of their chaos. All is well. You're safe. And you hold that frequency as often as you can. You practice it over and over and over and over. The quantum field is real. You choose to be in a different you choose to be in a different dimensional field, and you will be in that dimensional field as long as you can hold that frequency. Your reality completely shifts. Your lens shifts. And the more of us that can do this on a regular basis right now, the more we will shift the entire collective and assist in purging this. It takes a huge amount of courage to do what you and I and all of us that are here to awaken first are doing. And yet you find yourself in the place of choice of no choice, which is, I am now recognizing that none of this resonates, that there is something larger at hand, that there is a large collective of fear being cleared right now, and it looks like chaos. And it looks like fear, and it looks like lack, and it looks like disempowerment. And I know what's actually happening from a much larger perspective, which is that this density is clearing off the earth plane so that more humans can step into the higher realms, which I'm already in. And if I continue to experience, participate, join in with the tsunami, then I am not showing the way. And if I participate, if I join, if I play in it, if I experience it, it's okay. I'm learning how to be quantum. I'm learning how to be in the higher realms while I stand in chaos. Just think about Jesus. If you want an example of what this looks like, think about Buddha, think about Gandhi, think about Babaji, think about these beings that walked the earth plane in a higher frequency than most humans around them, and were able to walk into the third dimensional chaos without participating in it. They were able to hold their reality, their lens, their view, even in the midst of chaos. And they did not argue. They did not participate in the denser consciousnesses. They did not judge the humans that were in the denser consciousnesses. They viewed it from the quantum field. They viewed it from the quantum perspective, which means they understood that that human was experiencing the frequency of their form, which was at that now a third dimensional consciousness. And it is not their fault. And it is my role as Jesus or Buddha or Babaji or Gandhi or any of the other beautifully enlightened beings that were on the earth plane to show the way by being the way, by being the light. And we practice this not just in this massive tsunami that's happening right now, but in any dense consciousness that the collective is experiencing, any paradigm that is held in massive amounts of fear. We are being asked to step out of fear-based paradigms. Anything that is experienced as fear, we need to step out of first, so the collective can recognize that it is not the only way. So by Earth allowing a large fear cloud to move in, it allows not only the ones that are awakening first to recognize fear all over the place in every paradigm, but practice stepping out of it, recognizing there's another reality, there's another truth, there's another way of being, holding that. And so the unawakened, unconscious humans can start to see, practice, and be with us. Okay? So remember, you're in the quantum realm. There's the fourth and the fifth and the sixth all in this now. And you are already holding the 4 and 5 and 6D consciousnesses. For sure the 4 and 5D consciousness, you're already holding it. You've been feeling it. You've been experiencing it. So now you hold it in a sovereign field and you choose. I'm walking out today. I'm going to choose to hold 4 and 5D consciousness. I'm going to choose to be in my heart. I'm going to choose to breathe every now moment. I'm going to choose to relax my shoulders. I'm going to choose to get into my body. I'm going to choose to ground myself down into the earth. Open up your root energy center, the very first energy center. Open it up. Ground the light down. Open your crown up and ground the light through. I'm sovereign. I'm not impacted by, I'm not pummeled by any consciousness that I walk out into. I walk into the grocery store, I've got this cloud of 4 or 5D field around me because that's the dimensional field I'm choosing to be in this quantum realm. And then you practice. Maybe you walk into the grocery store and you get pummeled by fear and you get angry and frustrated and you get into your car and you're like, well, that failed miserably. I'll try it again tomorrow, right? We just keep getting up. We don't quit. It's like riding a bike or learning how to swim. We're not going to necessarily get it right the very first time, but we keep getting up and we go again and we go again and we go again. You're quantum. You're a light being in physical form. You understand how this works. You remember how this works. This is why you are in the form. This is why you are here right now. You know how to do this. You know how this works, and you have compassion for you and all beings that are navigating this, because this is the first time that we are navigating this physically in the way that we are navigating it. So have compassion for yourself. Have love for yourself and every other human that is consciously or unconsciously navigating this. You know how to do this. Remember the quantum fields. Remember the dimensional fields. Remember intention and energy. Remember intention. What do I want to experience? Energy. I need to feel that frequency of that intention, of that experience. What does it feel like? I've been practicing this. I know. And then you hold that. Go out there. Be that beacon of light. Stay in those higher realms. Stay in the quantum field. Stay in the quantum perspective. This is a very, very potent tsunami of consciousness right now. And we are getting a powerful practice in doing this, which is why we're here on the earth plane. You're loved, you're held, you're watched, you're cheered on, and you have all the assistance you need from the beings of light in the higher realms. Your galactic family, your star family, the angels, the ascended masters, all of them are here to assist you in any now moment. You just ask and they come right in. I love you. Thank you for being here. Right now in your form. Thank you for awakening. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for allowing yourself to practice and then fail and practice and fail and practice and fail and yet keep on going. You are shifting the collective and you are shifting the earth plane. Whether you realize it or not, you're doing it.